I'm going to talk about how we're focusing on building a global organisation, and a global organisation of remote workers or home workers, virtual workers, mobile in all of it. In this, I'm going to talk about what we do in a moment, but when I set out to start Tenego back a number of years ago, it's almost 5 years ago now, I had a couple of things in mind, and being able to work from anywhere was very important, but it's also very important to have a base. I think there's a credibility about having a base address, HQ, and landline phone number. I think the world is getting over it slowly, that mobile numbers are accepted, but if you don't have a landline phone number and a reception answering the phone, you don't have that credibility of an established business. And I think when I started out in this business a number of years ago, that was first and foremost was very important, having that base, but also being able to work from anywhere. And and as a tech-savvy person, I'm going to concur with many of what Joan said about all the tools to use, and I'm going to talk about some of those. Also be able to build a team in various locations and the challenges in around that. Using the expertise in lower cost economies. Develop a clear customer offer programs, develop clear sales and delivery process, develop a scalable business model. I'm not going to talk about these three in the presentation, but I'm going to talk about the challenges in the mobile virtual worker in building an international business. Firstly, what do? We build and manage international sales channels for software companies. We do this by the methodologies we developed over the last number of years and working with the software companies to help them sell their products through partners all over the world. So it's we offer advice, support, but ultimately we want to outsource that function or interim management function within our client companies, and that's what we do. Various sectors, various regions, and involved in various projects in different parts of the world. We currently have a physical office here in the NSC. We have a physical office in Dublin, and Jerry, my colleague from Dublin, is down today, and Melissa here in the Cork office. But also we've just started up an office in London, and we have a rep operating for us in Dubai. So the organisation at the moment, you could say the extended team, we've about 8 people in various parts of the world. Again, not going to great detail about the ultimate of our service, but we go everything from market selection criteria, the strategy in the partner development side of things, to support other people's execution if they have their team themselves, or outsource the function in building and managing sales channels. That's it in one sentence. We have developed the methodologies. That slide, all those colourful pictures, we have methodologies. And it's about building that process that we can define the capability at each stage and to be able to execute on that in a structured fashion, that we can manage it and know where we are at a particular time that we're delivering for our clients. So we've just launched the Tenego's franchise program, Tenego's Global Partnering Network. And this simple vision here is to operate as a single entity all over the world with multiple offices, but each office being owner managed. So if you think about all the systems, a bit like Kathy's model in one sense, but the idea of managing that team and giving them support to be able to have that business to work as part of the team and working internationally with different companies in the network. So getting into the detail here, having a base and while working from anywhere. It was important having an established base. The NSC is our base, with HQ operations. So the reception will answer the phone as Tenego Partnering, will pass through, forward the call internally or externally as required, and we've set that up. The operations here, the core operations of what we do will be here. The core administration of what we do will be here, is here. The simple fact, one of my props, I live out of this bag. I literally live out of that bag. If I can't have it electronically, I can't have it. I carry very little paper in that. I travel a bit into the UK and countries across Europe. If one night overnight, I'll fit it into that bag. Everything will go in there. Don't ask me the detail. I don't want to go into that fine detail, right? But it does go into that bag. I do live, the laptop, everything is always the same environment I operate from. I have the same mouse, I have the same laptop. We do operate with second screens at the desk, a bit more productive, but I believe in using the same keyboard, same tools everywhere you go. I can work in coffee shops. It's not always the easiest environment, but when you have work to do and you're focused on it, you'll get it done. You have everything you need to work on your laptop, on your iPad, on your phone, and all the tools we use are synchronized across all 3 platforms to get access to whatever you need when you need it. When I go into a meeting, again, this is what I go into a meeting with. I have a notebook and an iPad in there, and I can access everything. I will print out certain documents for ease kind of in communicating to customers. I don't like printing stuff out. I shred it afterwards. I have no paper, as little as possible. So I work electronically. And you think about the far-reaching things in this. And one of the base reasons I started to do this was I wanted to be able to work from anywhere. Absolutely. And some of the reasons were family reasons, some of the reasons were business reasons. But ultimately, when it gets down to kind of a few things in this, and I'll tell you why in a second. A few tools, right? The mobile phone. We've got a package with Vodafone that we can phone anywhere in the world as part of our minutes. I'm going to say that again, just to be clear. Anywhere in the world as part of our phone minutes. So the phone services are very competitive, and you can do that. So rather than me picking up the desk phone to phone India, I phone on my mobile phone because it's already paid for. We use VoIP telephones. Yes, we have our NSC phone, and that's our base Tenego phone. But because we operate for our clients, we've got separate phones for projects. And we use VoIP. Now the VoIP phone means that I can have my Cork phone number on a soft phone on this phone here, on my iPad, wherever I am, I can answer or make a call from my desk phone. With Blueface services, we can set up phone numbers, and we have. If we're executing for a project in the US, for example, we can have a Florida phone number. We have London phone numbers. So we're making calls from local offices on behalf of our clients. But the numbers and the calls will always come back to us. So the flexibility of the VoIP phone means you can bring the phone, because with family, to the boys here today, we would have moved to sunnier climates over the summers, over maybe for 6-8 weeks. I would have rented an office, brought my desk phone, plugged it in, I had my Cork phone number. Right, so, and the flexibility of that, kind of for business and personal reasons, has worked extremely well for us. What you see, there's another thing there as well, is this here. This is a MiFi device, mobile Wi-Fi. Rather than walking into a coffee shop and depending on the Wi-Fi service working at all, getting connected, or even having sort of that it's reliable, you bring your own. And even when I was traveling into Middle East a lot, I buy a SIM in the Middle East and have a device, and just replace the SIM in the MiFi device and have the data connection already paid for in there. And have buying the SIMs the markets go into. As well, with the beauty of the mobile phones, I have an older HTC phone, just syncing up to Microsoft Exchange. It has my calendars, my contacts, my emails on the local phone number. So if I carry two phones, again, saving on phone bills and having the exactly same environment wherever you go, it works extremely well for us. I'm going ahead, I'm getting a bit excited about this stuff. We use Skype heavily. We use Skype for our weekly meetings because there's people in remote locations. We use GoToMeeting and GoToWebinar to be able to have multiple videos up at the one time. But for all the casual stuff, is usually Skype. We have used Link in the past as well, but Skype seems to solve our needs, and I think they're going to merge sometime in the future. I know they're all molded by Microsoft. Moving on. File sharing and collaboration. Yes, Dropbox, Google Drive, SkyDrive, and a multitude of others. They have their advantages. When we're working on a project with a client, yes, we can share Dropbox folders, but they're not ideal. So we're creating our own environment to be able to have a protected file structure, because when you share a folder with somebody, maybe you don't want them to be able to change and delete what's in that folder. But maybe you want the simplicity of having a shared folder at the same time. So there's things there that we're working on for our own environment, or our global network, to be able to do these things. Google app environment, yes, we were on Google for a long time, but we moved over to Microsoft because basically the structure and the infrastructure of being the same in every environment worked far, far better and more integrated with the operating systems as we found it. I'm going to flick through a few things here, right? Just throw them all up. As regards anybody in the company, you can see anybody else's calendars. We are sharing all the contacts that we gather in the company. There is a pool resource there that's whenever someone's got access to calendar items, we know what we're doing. Basically, people can book meetings in for me. They know my availability. They know where I am. They know what I can do. And so I think in that it's very important. The idea of putting a structure around what we do with lead generation and supporting our network partners, our franchise partners, having a structured lead generation that we can manage centrally and see their information as well. In that global network, we will continue that information sharing, so we're able to help each other across the world. So it's the tools and methodologies around lead generation and opportunity management, tools around the whole partner recruitment process, which effectively is a sales process, which fits well with CRM. But the idea of managing projects and helping people that are stuck on projects or need help at various stages in projects is all very important. The other administrations like to be able to generate proposals and reports, and be able to, I suppose, offer assistance to people out in the field doing that remotely. We've got staff working for us full time in India and in Philippines, both market research and support activities in what we do. And how we do that is using the likes of ELANS. So ELANS, I suppose, there's a lot to learn when you're starting to use these things first, and patience is one of the things you need to learn. Right? And there's ways of learning how you communicate and how you work with people remotely. But when you start looking at a cost base of maybe anything from $5 an hour, and you can get good people at $5 an hour, right? To them, it's good money, and we're helping them out. To us, it's common sense to be using the valuable resource in another part of the world. Finding the right capabilities, but sometimes working with those people to build up the capabilities you need. But having a clear structured process by what we want to do is making it clear we want to do at different stages, and be able to outline the instructions very clearly helped a lot. And obviously we're getting better at that every day. So there's other ones too around the types of ELANS, and there's fine structures in there and working with people. But it's learning how to use it yourself and learning how to work that way, and finding the right people and going through the process. It's like recruitment, but it might move a bit faster because you're not depending on as much until you know it works. So that's a quick sweep through of the various things we use. Got a few other things about working with remote workers or working remotely. So you do want to work with self-motivated people, but to many people, that if they haven't worked on their own or at home before, it is tough to get used to. There's a great discipline involved. Working from home, like the home to you before may well have just it's a place of relaxation or doing your housework or whatever it may be, but kind of going into a room, locking yourself away, and that focus discipline, there's a bit of getting used to doing that. So it's important that when you try and find self-motivated people, disciplined people that can do that, but also regular communication. There is a loneliness involved in it. Do you feel part of the team when you're out there on your own? So you have to include people not just in the what they're doing, in the why they're doing it, and being part of that reason in doing that. So in regular communication and using video where possible. We have a very good lady working for us in New Delhi in India, and we've never spoken to her. She's a speech impediment. Everything is by email and instant message. For the last 2.5 years, Jerry, is it? Yeah, she is super. I think she has an IT degree and a business degree, and she's top notch, and kind of it works very well. I suppose for us, with the discipline not being able to talk to her, we had to be clear about the communication, and it made you think it through a bit more and make it work, but it works so well. The clear work tasks and timelines. I suppose I'm not good at delegating, I'm told regularly. And in this is be able to communicate clearly what you want, when you want it, then being challenged on the bits and detail in there to get it right. But thankfully I've got people that challenge me on that. Clear common goals. And I say common goals, again it's back to communicating why you want something as opposed to just give me this. And it buys people into the overall reason. And also it's attributing with a certain level of intelligence that let them think about the better ways to do it and other ways to do it. And again, working with people in other countries, particularly in India, is getting them to come forward with suggestions. There's a bit of a cultural change there. The celebrating successes, again, I'm not good at this, but thankfully I have people who realise that. It's moving on and helping people realise they've done a good job, and being able to focus on the next task in hand. Big thing here is understanding the challenges of working alone. I suppose for myself, I'd be a very task-driven person, but you have to recognise that there's other things that are needed in all of this. We have weekly meetings. We have weekly updates and tasks of what need to be done, and that's helping keep people focused, but also during the week as well, checking on people and how they're getting on, because we need it in deadlines during the week. But there is absolutely inherent challenges in people working alone, working with people that are remotely, and yourself if you're so inclined. But that's generally what I have to talk about today. But as I mentioned earlier, is patience, allowing time to learn how to work together when you're working with people remotely. Everyone works a little differently, but the relationship has to build up remotely.